So let's talk a little bit here about data collection. Some sources, common sources for data would be published sources. So this could be journal articles, scientific articles, research articles, newspapers, government publications, things like that. Or designed experiments. That would be where researchers have full control over the units, the members of the population. Usually there are control and treatment groups. There's two groups here. An example would be like an FDA drug trial. So those are designed experiments. They have a drug group and a placebo group, and placebo gets the fake drug. And then they see if the treatment group responds better than the placebo group. So they have to get better than placebo effect. Or it could be an observational study. An observational study, researcher has no control over the units. They just sample and observe. So that could be true in a survey, could also be true in a cohort study, which is an observational medical study. So the largest cohort study is what's called the Framingham Heart Study, and that is actually the observational study that we've gotten a lot of the recommendations for heart health from, like avoiding saturated fats, avoiding hydrogenated fats, things like that, watching your blood pressure. All of that's come out of an observational study. Representative sample is one that has the typical characteristics of the population that you're interested in. So it has the same characteristics as your population. So we'd like our sample to be representative. We'd like it to have all the same characteristics. How do we ensure that we've got a sample that's representative? Well, one thing we can do is take a random sample. Randomness usually will give us, if the sample size is large enough, give us a representative sample. And randomness means that every subset here of the same size has the same chance of inclusion in that sample. Or equivalently, every member of the population has the same chance of getting in the sample. So let's look at an example here. So we want to know what percentage of internet users are addicted to internet pornography. To find out, the Barna Group has designed a survey of 8 questions based on common criteria for alcohol addiction. So they're studying a similar addiction, and they're making it available via Twitter. So sample question would be, does viewing internet pornography interfere with your normal daily responsibilities? So one of the things about addiction is that it takes control of your life. So it's a control type question. So total here of 28,655 internet users responded. If the respondents answered yes to more than half the questions, they are considered as having an addiction. So the findings revealed that 8,122 respondents, or 28.3%, were addicted to internet pornography. It's a very widespread problem, even in the church, and unfortunately even some pastors are addicted to internet pornography. Very pervasive and easy to keep from others. So what's the data collection method here? Well, we did a survey, right? They designed a survey of 8 questions. So they're collecting via a survey. So it's an observational study. What's the target population? Well, it doesn't say anything here about male or female. You'd like to think this is predominantly a male problem, but sometimes also a female problem. But they said they surveyed here 28,655 internet users. So it doesn't say anything about gender there, just said they use the internet. Doesn't say anything about age either. So I think our best target population here would be all internet users. Are the sample data likely to be representative of the population? Well, there's no random sampling in here. So there's no random sampling, no randomness involved in the process here. And then also it's a volunteer sample since it's a survey. So people have to volunteer to be in the survey. And so the people that volunteer for the survey, they actually, they could have thoughts or feelings that are very different from the population. That's always a danger when you have a volunteer sample. So for these two reasons of not having a random sampling and because we got a volunteer sample, I would say probably not representative. So probably not.